Greetings and salutations, folks. I hope everyone is still doing well. Welcome to tonight's second bonus. Before we jump on into it, a couple quick links. As many of you may know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Knott. These audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click that like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click the bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and they are appreciated. And with that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to tonight's second bonus, shall we? Alright, folks, so for some reason, from like 2019 to 2022, there was a considerable amount of attacks on humans going on that were definitely not normal or natural animals. Therefore, supernatural falls into play, meaning Dogman, crawler, etc. And there was one case where a 13-year-old little boy on February 18th, 2020 was savagely attacked, brought up a large cliff or hillside, but it was a steep incline. And, the government came in, Department of Homeland Security came in and covered it all up. I have a subscriber interview that I did, and this gentleman actually had gone to school with the young man who was attacked, his mother. So here we go. Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have an interview that I have wanted to do for a very long time. I have wanted to talk to somebody from this community for a very long time. And today I have that opportunity. Before we get into it, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and my merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. The links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below, my merch displayed directly under this video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters Volume 1, 2, and 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeffrey Knott. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. And certainly last but not least, if you'd really like to help the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe and click the like button. It's fast and free. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with today's upload. Shall we? Alright guys, today I have an interview with a person who I've gotten to know over the last couple of days. They are from Knott County, Kentucky, and we both have talked, like I said, for a couple of days, and this video right now is really to kind of set the record straight of really what happened and what's still going on in that community. Because there's, a lot of, I don't want to say lies, but a lot of misinformation. So right now I'm going to present to you my friend Charles, how are you?
I'm good, sir.
Now, you are from Knott County, Kentucky.
Yes, sir, I am. I grew up in Emelina.
Okay. Can you paint us a picture of the community that you grew up in, and, kind of just paint us the picture of what Knott County is, how the people are, and what you guys,
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. Knott County, Kentucky, it's southeastern Kentucky. We're kind of out in the middle of nowhere. It's a very small community. The entire county has 2 stoplights, and they're both in Hindman, which is basically the quote unquote city for the county. It's a tiny place. Everyone knows each other. I worked EMS for 10 years here. I know all the police officers, all the fire and rescue guys. I know everyone around me. Everyone knows each other, and everyone cares about each other. Nothing happens here without everyone finding out about it. We're just a really small, close-knit community. Everywhere around us is nothing but hillsides. It's as far out in the country as you can really get. Bunch of good people, and a lot of folks that believe the same things and have the same kind of morals and standards and values. We're really, really as far out there in this country as you can get. A lot of the old stereotypes about country people apply to everyone in my area. I grew up here my whole life. I'm 38 years old. I know everyone here on a first-name basis. We've been friends since grade school through high school, college, and everyone still knows each other the same way today.
Okay. With that being said, I'm only going to bring this up to kind of show your credibility in who you are. You are former Air Force, like you said, EMS. Can you kind of give us a list of that for us? Just so people can know.
I was actually a 91 Whiskey 10, which was combat medic in the Army. I came out of the military, and I worked EMS for over a decade here for TranStar Ambulance in Knott County.
Okay.
So I know the area just from growing up in the area, living here my whole life, and then also working EMS. I know these mountains and these hills. I know the people in the community. This is home to me. I've lived a lot of places all over this country. I've lived in other countries, but this area is home.
Yeah.
And anyone around this area knows who I am. I don't have anything to hide from anyone, and I just appreciate the fact that I'm getting a chance to kind of set some things right here on your channel, because I feel like people need to know the truth, and people in this community wouldn't be happy with some of the things that are going on and being said about the community.
Right. Like I said, there's misinformation being shared out there, and you reached out to me, and I responded. And I said Air Force because that's how long you and I have been talking. We had just talked about your dad, and the Air Force was stuck in my head, and he was former Air Force. So you went to school with Corey's mom. You guys were friends. Now, you also were friends with, like, the sheriff, the deputy, the EMS, the ambulance, the EMS person, the driver. You knew all of those people that were involved in that case, correct?
Yes, sir, I did. I went to grade school with Corey's mother. From first grade forward, went to high school with her. I know her brother. I know her whole family. I know everyone that lives up and down the road that they lived on where this took place. It's just a couple of miles from my father's house. Mm-hmm. As far as the EMS workers, I worked with the paramedic and the EMT that were on scene. I worked with them for 8-9 years. The sheriff's deputy who was there, the chief sheriff's deputy, is a very close personal friend of mine. The sheriff himself was a good friend. I've known these people not only through working EMS, but just the fact that we grew up together. And, this area being as small as it is, everyone knows everyone. And especially Corey's family, they're people that I've known as closely as my own cousins. I know everyone involved in this case very well.
Right. Yeah. Now, that case, actually, I want to kind of talk about this really quick, and then we'll go into the past. The community now, are there any kind of signs of possible cryptids being around? Are you guys hearing howls? Are there a lot of animal attacks going on right now in this vicinity?
No, sir. I apologize.
No,
the misinformation coming from other channels. There are things being said that people from the community were coming forward saying, "Hey, we've been hearing these weird howls." And as far as animal attacks, no. No one's coming forward hearing any of these weird howls. That never happened. There were no animal attacks. This other channel is putting information out there that is putting two different cases together. They're taking events that happened years ago in a completely different location and applying them toward Corey's case. And none of these things are true. There's nothing going on in this community. Nobody's missing animals. Nobody's having livestock slaughtered. Nobody's afraid to go outside at night. Nobody's having these kind of issues that are being talked about. And it's kind of ridiculous. I think I told you, Jeff, that the one channel that's posting these things that we're actually referring to here, that fella would not be welcome in my community. People around here aren't happy about the fact that everything that's been going on has went the way it has, and there aren't really any kind of actual results to it.
Right.
The family's not happy. The family doesn't have answers. And then you have people out here saying things that are completely false. And I appreciate the fact that you're giving me the chance to kind of set it straight here.
Yeah.
Anyone that knows me, anyone that knows that family, anyone in that family that you speak to will tell you the same thing I'm going to tell you. None of that happened. There weren't animal attacks. There weren't scary howls in the night. None of those things happened. Where the incident occurred, that whole hollow has people. Everyone there has dogs. There are dogs that just run free. There are no leash laws here in Knott County.
Right.
Doesn't exist. There aren't packs of dogs. There aren't people finding a pack of dogs on a strip job and shooting them and leaving them. They aren't taking them to the animal shelter. None of that happened.
Real quick, can you explain? You just said strip job. So people know what a strip job is, just so they can.
Okay, so strip job. If you were to get on Google Maps, say as you did, and look at the area where we're from,
yeah,
it's mainly hilly terrain. You have a lot of underground coal mines. That's coal mining. But you also coal mine above ground, and that's what people call a strip job. They will level out some of these hills, and they'll get all the resources they can from there. And the end result is you have a big open area that's beautiful for riding four-wheelers, riding side-by-sides, going fishing, like the area that we're talking about. There's some ponds, and people can go fish. It's basically an area where someone had coal mine surface mining that has been reclaimed and, back to public use again.
Right. Yeah, it's so after the coal mining is done, the person that was responsible for the mine then has to resurface it, plant grass, and, like you said to me, that now it's there's cows and horses up there. Because I had asked you, I'm like, hey, what about these animal attacks? And you're like, there's been a couple of something, but that was nothing to do with this case, and so that's what the strip mine is it's just this beautiful place to kind of reclaimed old mine that was then beautified.
Correct. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like we had talked about the cattle and everything. Across from my father's house there, that reclaimed strip mine, Lost Mountain is the name of the mine initially. They reclaimed it, and then when I was about 13 or 14, they worked it again. A company called Hanco mined it, and then they reclaimed it. And now there are probably a couple hundred cattle and horses and donkeys and all kinds of animals up there that have not been attacked. And there's not. And this strip job, from where my father lives to where the incident with Corey happened, that's the same area where everybody grew up riding four-wheelers together and hanging out and having bonfires and fishing. And it's the same area. It's there were no animal attacks up there with crazy things like were being said about eyeballs and lips being ripped out and silly things that other people wanted to put out there and try to tie to this case.
Right.
Completely different cases, completely different areas, times.
Yeah, those things did happen, but like you said, complete years different, years apart, and miles apart. So I guess the next thing I wanted to kind of have you share and set the record straight of what you wanted to do, and me myself, is what you heard from all of the people that that were involved in the case. I know that you and I we've talked for almost 2.5 hours prior to doing the interview. And I thought I knew the case pretty well, but I learned a lot more today than anything that I've had in the research that I've done. The area where this incident occurred, can you kind of share with what you were told and what you've heard from all of those people?
Okay, so the area where this happened, the hollow is basically it's kind of in between a few mountains, and where they found Corey, and other than Corey, 100-pound child, he had some learning issues, some learning disabilities. There's no way that Corey could have gotten where they found him by himself. There's absolutely no way that a pack of animals could have taken him where they found him.
Right.
When his mother realized that he was missing, and then this was like a kind of turn around and he's gone deal. It wasn't they weren't ignoring this child. He hadn't been alone for hours by himself. He was just gone, and they shut down both sides of this hollow, and you had fire and EMS. You had volunteer fire departments from all over the county. You had Posse Volunteer Fire Department, Jake's Branch, Jones Fork, just everywhere. You had people from all over, fire and rescue, EMS, state troopers, and county police. The paramedic and the EMT who were on scene were there and were just waiting in the ambulance. Now, that's not how things normally work. As someone who's worked EMS for over a decade, we don't go and sit on scene and wait for a missing persons case. Like, we don't go wait to see if they find the child. But in this case, they were called out and they had to sit there and wait. And there were people who showed up on scene, and nobody knows who these people are. But whoever these people were, they were running the show. The state troopers, the county police, EMS, fire and rescue, everybody were listening to what these individuals were saying.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, no one knows who these people are, what organization they worked for, or who they were with. But they were clearly running the show.
Right.
And the sheriff's deputy, the chief sheriff's deputy, when they found Corey and was taken to the funeral home there in Hyman, was told basically, in my opinion, he was threatened. And I'll just say it the way that I feel about it. I feel like he was threatened and told that this has to be a hush-hush matter. We're not talking about it. You need to make sure the family understands that. The chief sheriff's deputy is the one who went and talked to Corey's mother and told her, hey, You're not to go to the newspaper. You're not to go to WYNT, to the TV people like the news. You're not to do anything. This is what it is, and it's to be left this way. Now, he went and talked to them after the state medical examiner had given his report, which only said, "Hey, it's a canine. That's it. That's all we have. It's a canine."
Right.
And that's the answer that this family has been left with, and have been told not to ask questions. The case is still open. And the one thing the guy did say in the video where he's talking all this nonsense that is true is that the reason that a case stays open is because as long as there's an active investigation going on, people can't say anything. You can't do too much. Once the case is closed, and that's an official answer, then people can argue it.
Right.
This family is sitting here. The mother, she closed Facebook accounts. She went basically into seclusion. That's why you don't hear about her in newspaper articles, and that's why you've not heard her name mentioned very often. Because that lady was told by the chief sheriff's deputy, who was told by whoever these other people are, to keep this silent. She was explicitly told that it would not end well if people kept pushing, asking questions and pushing for the truth, I guess, basically. And people around here aren't happy about it. Nobody's happy about it. This is a very close-knit community, and people here know each other, and they want the truth. That little fella deserves better than what he's been given, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. And when I saw your post that you made, that's why I made the comment, hey, I'm from here. I know these people. I can tell you what I know. I can give you the truth about it.
Yeah.
Because people wouldn't be happy to know that you've got this guy out here putting this false information and talking things, trying to get views on his page when he doesn't have a clue about what he's saying. Right.
And, the thing that I wanted to really, when you and I talked, you and I were like, we kind of clicked right away. We just talked for a few minutes and you explained things, and, like I was telling you, when I talk to somebody, I kind of become friends with people, and it's cool. But I really could feel your kind of, first your anger for misinformation being out there, but the, I guess the word I'd say would be kind of confusion, or, I don't know how to put it, for the case going the way it did. A lot of just, feeling real bad for the mom, and, like your friend being told this, the mom being told that. There's not one single interview of that mom being interviewed on TV or in the media. I have not found one. And it's sad because the family was just immediately, they lost their child in a horrendous way. Like you said, it was turn your back, gone. And then they're told to shut up. And it's really disgusting that like an outside entity would come in and kind of tell your community what to do.
Well, Jeff, I'll tell you this, and like you and I had spoken, my friend who's the chief sheriff's deputy, he also still works at the ambulance service, which is Lifeguard Ambulance now. They bought it from Transtar. He still works there. He's still sheriff's deputy. The man has daughters. And when I'd asked him later on, after all this, we were at his house. We were playing guitar, sitting in his garage, just he and I, late at night. And I asked him, what's going on with this? He was afraid. He was visibly afraid, even though it was just he and I. And his explanation, because I asked him how, he's the one who had to tell Molly and them not to say anything.
Right.
And I'm sorry, that is her name. It's Molly, but that's not, I tried not to say names, but it's public record. It's not anything. I'm not saying anything that's bad, but he was told basically at that funeral home that if he didn't do what he was told, that it would come back on his family. Yeah. Someone said something about his daughters to him, and his answer to me, why he said what he did to that family, and why, because I asked him how he could sleep with himself to tell him that, and not give him the truth, or try to come up with some kind of answer. And he said, because I love my daughters. And to me, that sounds like that man was threatened.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw the look on his face when I brought it up, and he didn't even want to speak about it. And it is bad, Jeff. It's terrible that, especially a place like this, you have people who are less fortunate than a lot of people in this country. And a lot of these people aren't very educated.
Right.
A lot of these people don't understand how they can and can't fight for themselves, and what they can do about things. So a lot of times when someone looks at you around here, if the police look at you and say, hey, you need to be quiet, a lot of these people are going to be quiet. Channel. That's why when I saw that comment, I made a message and I emailed you, and I'll be the voice for somebody. I'll tell the truth.
Yeah.
There's nobody that's going to intimidate me. And I hate the fact that you have great people in this world who have horrible things happen to them like this, and they don't feel like they can do anything about it.
Absolutely.
And then to have someone come out here and start putting all these silly things on their channel, it's appalling. It's really appalling to me. And I appreciate the fact that you're letting me say anything. As far as the case goes, Jeff, anyone from around here knows that the official narrative is nonsense.
Right.
I mean, it's impossible. You've looked on Google Maps. You've seen where my father lives.
Yeah.
You've seen the area where this incident happened. For you to tell me a pack of dogs did this to this little fella, and with the injuries that he had, and with all of the scenario being what it was,
yep.
Nobody here believes any of this, and
right.
Everybody's afraid to say anything. It's been swept under the rug, and it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart for that family.
Really quick, with those injuries, there's been a lot, not just with certain things, but there's been a lot of kind of in the news even misinformation about this little guy's condition when found. The news really had you believe that he was kind of tore up, like you imagine a small child being dragged up this 300 to 400 foot wall, and you're envisioning a pack of wild dogs. So you're like, wow, he must have been just really shredded. That's not the case, is it?
No, sir. That's not the case whatsoever. He, and like I told you, one of my great friends who was there, the paramedic on scene, when they put him in what's called a Stokes basket. It's a type of cot basically that EMS uses to extricate people from hard to reach areas. That's the only way they could get him out of there. There's no carrying, like a group of people couldn't have carried him back down from where they found him.
Right.
They had to put him in that basket and then carefully lower, and there's no possible way that a pack of dogs could have got that boy there. He would have been absolutely just terrible. He would have been tore out of pieces.
Right. Yeah.
And when they found Corey, he had some injuries, but they weren't, it was a bicycle wreck could have, you know what I mean? Like, it was the kind of injuries that you can't tell me that a pack of dogs dragged that boy up that mountain to where he was. And the amount of blood loss, there are no drag marks. It was as if where they found him, it was as if someone had just laid him down there.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were no drag marks. His clothes weren't even torn and tattered. And if you drag somebody that distance up through this terrain, their clothes are going to be destroyed. They're going to be muddy. They're going to be they're going to be terrible.
Right.
But Corey was found. He didn't have those injuries. And like you said about misinformation from even what you can find on public record, like Trooper Jody Sims said one thing, Dials said one thing. Like the Sheriff's Department and the State Police are conflicting with what they're saying the reports are. everything got silenced until the state medical examiner released his report. And then all that said was, hey, yeah, it's a canine.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's all we did. And after that, you've heard nothing. And you won't hear from Corey's mother because she's afraid to say anything. Like she's...
And good reason, too.
To
yeah, and good reason, too. You know, like, it's just... Prior to this, when it first happened, I felt for the family. You know, I had covered it. And I think that's when you found my channel and started to really kind of look into the Dogman thing. And I had posted the GoFundMe page for the burial for him and all that to help with the family. But then talking with you and kind of realizing everything that poor woman has had to go through prior and now, it's sad, you know, it's really sad. And to not be able to have answers or be able to speak out as a mom must be just pure hell. One thing that I did really but that I really liked how you described was how Corey was found. It was almost like he was carried up there and then whatever happened, or he was dropped, which is very strange.
And the thing is, Jeff, it's like we had talked about, that terrain. You know, again, you look at Google Maps, you see how, you know, you've seen how that terrain is.
Mm-hmm.
That's unforgiving. And that child couldn't have been there. And
right.
Like I talked to you, the area that they found him, where they actually found Corey, you had probably 100 people. Fire and rescue, EMS. Well, EMS had to wait in the ambulance, but like altogether from the police departments to all the people in the community, the fire and rescue guys, there were probably 100 people looking for this child.
Right.
And you have all these people on this hillside. They'd went over that area a couple times. Like they had been there. Corey was not there. And then they sweep back through, and then there he is, just out of nowhere. It's I don't have an answer for it. I don't have any kind of explanation for what actually happened. But I can tell you, and anybody that was on that scene can tell you, that family will tell you. The narrative that has been spun in what little bit of media there is for it is completely incorrect. And it is heartbreaking because Corey's mom, she had a really rough life.
Right.
She did. She's a great person, fantastic person. She did everything she could for that child. She would have given the world for him. So for the people who make comments about, you know, like, well, maybe you should have watched your child better, yada, yada, things like that, you're crazy. That child wasn't left alone. What happened it's inconceivable, and I wish I had an answer. But for her to, you know, she deleted her Facebook page. She just kind of went into seclusion, and she wanted to go to the Lexington Herald-Leader. I told you this, and I'll say it here. She wanted to go to the Lexington Herald-Leader and do a story. And this is before, you know, she was told by the sheriff's deputy, hey, don't go to the newspaper. Don't do this. Don't do that. This is what it is. This is what we're going with. And I feel like she was probably threatened, honestly. I feel like 99% sure my buddy who's the sheriff's deputy was threatened because things were said about his family.
Yep.
And, you know, I don't care how good a person you are, you're going to protect your family first.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like Corey's mom was probably, she was probably intimidated into not saying anything more than she has.
Yeah, it's like
and
that.
I hate that.
It's like that old
fella deserves better.
Yeah, it's like that old saying, crap rolls downhill. So whoever these mysterious people, and they weren't men in black, you know, how you described these guys, they were casual dress or whatever, you know, they weren't in suits and ties, but they were, you know, dressed up. Whatever they said to your friend, what that rolled down to her, and it just went right downhill, you know. It's real sad. The whole community was just stifled by whoever these people were. And being, you don't even know, you're friends with all, it's not a very big community, and, nobody knows who these people were really.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I know this, being former military and working EMS with all these people, all these different agencies. I know these people very well. They're friends of mine. And I know that when someone rolls in onto a scene like that and they just take control and everybody listens to them, the state police, the county police, EMS, fire and rescue, everybody starts doing what these people say. These people have to have some kind of authority. I don't know who they are or what that authority is.
Right.
But I know for this area, this little small place we are, when this happened to Corey, this was a big deal. This wasn't, like for us, it's like people around here act like it is like when the trade towers got attacked. Like that's that level of, for this little small community, you had everybody in this community up in arms, man. It was insanity. Like everybody that could was out there trying to help. Everybody knows this story. Nobody believes what anything is told because anybody from my area knows for a fact, A, there are not packs of wild dogs running around here. B, even if there were, that little fella couldn't have ended up where he did by a pack of dogs doing that. We know that what's being told isn't true. We don't know what the truth is.
Right.
We don't have an answer for what actually happened.
Yeah.
But what we do know is there were people that showed up there that ran the show that night when they found Corey, and nobody wants to talk about it, and everybody seems like they're scared to death.
Yeah, yeah. You just, prior to this, you had mentioned something, and, I've covered a lot of these unknown cases, unknown animal cases, unknown whatever they are is going on. And it made me think when you said that the search and rescue people and everyone that was looking for the little boy, they had been over that spot where they found him, and then they go back and he's there. And it's very similar to that case out of Oklahoma last year where the dad, went out back looking for his kid. He's not there. He goes back with a rescue worker, and there he is. And they blamed it on a small, stray dog that they found that weighed no more than 15 pounds, a 7-year-old boy getting taken out by a Shih Tzu or whatever. That was very strange. Very similar, though, because people had been there. They went, looked at a different location. Some time passed. They come back to that location, and boom, there he is. That's a very strange circumstance in this case as well. There's a lot of just weird kind of what happened. What is the kind of consensus? Does that what is the feel of, what are people saying that, or had said that might have happened to him? Is there a feeling of that?
So when it started, the mother and the guy that she was with at the time automatically were looked at very badly. Mm-hmm. But because of things in the past, it doesn't matter. But people thought, well, maybe again, that's why I go to people saying that he was left unattended and whatever, and maybe he wandered off. That was the initial thing, right? And then when they found Corey, when they found him, where they found him, after, how long it took to find the fella and how many people were out, and when they found him, everybody was kind of gobstopped by it. Like nobody knew, it didn't make sense.
Right.
Right now, the way the community looks at it is there's something, I'm not going to call it a Dogman. I'm not going to say Bigfoot. I'm not aliens or whatever. I'm not going to say anything like what it may have been. But the general consensus is that child was taken where they found him by something. Mm-hmm. And nobody can explain it because, again, there are no drag marks. take somebody up there where you found him, and you're saying it's dogs that drug him up that hill, you're gonna have, you're gonna have a trail of, like, you'll be able to see it. Like, it's hard for these people to get there to get Corey. Like, every step you take, you're walking against the hillside. Like, you're going uphill, and it's not rocket science for anybody to figure out. Nobody really has an answer. Everybody's confused. Generally in the community, the people that know anything about the case, the family, I'll tell you the consensus of the family. The family believes that something crazy happened, and they're being silenced on it, and it doesn't matter what that crazy thing might have been. They just want answers, and they'll never get them. And nobody here is afraid of, like, Dogman, right? Like, nobody here is locking their doors and coming inside at dusk. Like, we're not hearing crazy howls. We're not having weird things happen. We're not, this is a one-off kind of thing for us here in Knott County.
Right.
But the consensus is, whatever happened to that little fella, it wasn't. Nobody here believes it was dogs at all. Nobody. Just because there's canine DNA evidence, which was also completely blown out of proportion on someone else's channel, that apparently they had just cut and pasted information straight from Google.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody believes that the story that's being spun is actually what happened. I mean, it's not. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what actually happened. Everybody would love to, but it's one of those things where, again, around here, people are told to be quiet, and people be quiet. And we won't, I guess is a better way to say it. We won't have an answer for it, because it's like me, I know people that were there. I know all these people, and they won't talk about it. Like, the general consensus is something really terrible happened, and we don't have an explanation. And the things that we're being told about what happened, yeah, we may be simple country people, but we're intelligent enough to know that what you're telling us is nonsense.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, to me, it is one big shady cover-up. Going right from the top, and wherever that may be, like you and I had talked, like, we were just like, well, who knows who these people were, but wherever they came from, they really just scared the living bejesuses out of everybody, and they covered it up quickly, silenced it, and, like you said, tried to brush it under the rug as quickly and as painlessly as possible.
Well, and Jeff, it's like me. I wish I had been the person that was on that EMS call.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to have been there. Now, first of all, I would have been up in the hills looking for Corey, regardless of what anybody told me. They would have had to physically stop me from being there. Like, I would have been part of that search. I would have loved to have actually been there, because I would have loved to have seen exactly, because I would have made it a point to try to figure out who these people were that showed up there, and we block. You don't block the road on both sides of this hollow to search for a child. You don't have EMS waiting there. You don't have 3 state troopers and 4 county sheriff's deputy cars there. You don't have fire and rescue from 50 places. Like, it's not. This is so abnormal for like a missing persons case. Like, and first of all, here's the thing that I don't know how many of your viewers or anything are familiar with, like, missing persons. When Molly reported Corey being gone, all of this happened that day. Like, you don't wait 48 hours before you can call somebody missing, right?
Right.
All this happened that evening, that night. None of any of the way this all went down was so abnormal. I would have loved to have actually been there, so I could have tried to figure it out a little better. I know everything I know because I know these people, and these people might as well be family to me. And it's scary to sit and think that if this can happen here in my little community, how many other cases of this, how many other people is this happening to?
Yeah.
And to see someone basically belittling people, like, I feel like that's what this other channel was doing. I feel like they were using somebody else's suffering and sacrifices for their own gain.
Yeah.
And it was atrocious to me.
It was almost playing off of this woman's pain. That's where, when you reached out to me and you and I talked, it was, it was, to me, here's the deal. And I'd said this to you before. I don't like, when, like, I hope that when someone emails me and has had an encounter, that it is 100% real. It's one thing to make up, like, I saw a Bigfoot down by the river, but it's a whole different thing to make up a scenario around the suffering of a mom, a family, a community that is going through it, and you're not even a part of that community, and you don't even know anybody in that community, and that's the most disgraceful part to it, I think.
Yes, sir. And the fact that you're going to take two different cases and try to slam those together and act like, well, this community, I talked to people in this community, and they said that they were hearing these howls, and they said this about these mutilations. No, they did not.
Yeah.
Nobody told anyone any such thing because it never happened.
Yeah.
Jeff, like you said, that is kind of where I discovered your channel. And I didn't know what Dogman was. I grew up in these hills. From the time I was a very small child, I know every bit of this terrain. I have walked the hills where they found Corey many, many times in my life. And it's just wild to me that people want to sit and, like you said, use somebody else's suffering, to try to get a view. And it hurts my feelings, and I wish there was more I could do.
Yeah.
I wish there was something else I could do to try to bring some kind of relief to this family.
Yeah, especially, like, I wish that there was more that I could do. Like, I did donate to the GoFundMe. I feel for the mom as a parent. You've got to feel for that poor woman, and it's one thing to lose a child, but it's another thing not to be able to talk about the loss and the circumstances behind that loss. Like, that's a whole different kind of hurt. That's a whole different kind of real letdown by your community leaders, but like you'd said, crap rolls downhill. Your buddy got it, then it went to them, and that's a tragedy in itself.
What you said, Jeff, you said to be let down by your community, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's like my buddy who's a sheriff's deputy. These are people, police officers, firefighters, search and rescue, EMS. These are people that you look to. You don't call these people if you don't have a problem. You call us when you need something. Hey, I've got a family member who's sick. Hey, somebody just robbed me. You talk to these people. These are the people that you go to when you have trouble. They're there to protect you, to help you.
Yeah.
And when you live in an area like I do, where where Corey was and where all this happened, everything is so close knit, and those people. If you call the cops, probably who the cops going to be when they get there.
Right.
You open your door and
you probably went to school with them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And for you to be put in a situation like this where you lose your child, and everybody that you know on a first name basis can't help you. They're telling you there's nothing can be done, that you need to be quiet about things. That's the kind of hurt that I couldn't even imagine. There is no way someone would have to just go ahead and end me. If that had been one of my children, and somebody came to me and said, hey, you can't talk about this. Well, I'm sorry, you're wrong. I will talk about this until you make it to where I can.
Right.
But a lot of people around here don't have, they're afraid to. It's not they don't have the courage, it's just that, again, like my buddy is like, hey, I have daughters. You know, you put your family first. We're very close-knit and we love each other, but we love our families first and foremost. And for whoever it is to have put this in people's minds that this can't be talked about, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible, and I hate it. And I very much appreciate the fact that I even get the opportunity to say this. Because if nobody hears this, that's fine. But maybe somebody hears it and decides to say something about it, you know?
Yeah, that'd be the most idealistic thing. You know, someone from the community actually speaking out. I don't think there's been somebody from Knott County interviewed to talk about this case that knows the amount of people that you do, that has had the kind of friendships with them, and you know, it's a good thing, because maybe someone that was responsible for shutting everybody up will hear this, and maybe they can have a conscience and be like, well, crap, maybe now it's time that, you know, maybe reach out to the mom and say, hey, you know, don't say anything, but this is what happened, okay? You can't say anything, but I feel real bad. I want to let you know what happened. Instead of feeding her a bunch of lies after she just got her whole world torn apart.
And I agree, Jeff. It's like my friend who's chief, you know, and people can look up who that is. It's not hard to find, you know. Google's your friend. Nothing I've told you is a lie. You've got on Google Earth and
yeah,
you saw where I grew up. You saw where this happened. But I'm not looking for anything from me. I just hope that eventually somebody will do that. I hope my buddy sometime maybe goes and talks to Corey's mom and says, hey, here's what and the thing is, I don't know what he actually knows.
Right.
You know, I don't think he has those answers. You ask me what I believe.
Yeah.
I believe there may be such a thing as a Dogman. I believe that inarguably there is canine DNA.
Yep.
Inarguably, it was not a pack of wild dogs. It wasn't coyotes. It wasn't. The official narrative is not true. I don't know what the answer is. I never believed there was such a thing as a Dogman. Like, I didn't, but honestly, that makes sense to me. But at the same time, a lot of this story doesn't make sense to me because, just like that, there are no drag marks. That boy had to be carried.
Yeah.
Wherever he, you know, whatever got him where he got there, he had to have been carried. Like, he didn't walk there himself. He couldn't have. That child couldn't have got there by himself. If you gave him all day, gave a kid 10 hours, he could not have got there by himself.
Right.
He couldn't have.
Right. Yeah, it's.
So I don't know, Jeff. I think there's things out there that we don't understand and we don't know about, and I think that there are people out here who it's their job to make sure that the general public doesn't believe in things like this.
Absolutely.
I know that this little community, nobody's afraid to go outside. Like, if you ask 100 people up and down that holler, I don't know what that is. What is that?
Right.
If you say werewolf, okay.
Or Bigfoot or something like that, because like you said,
Yeah.
you never heard of Dogman prior to.
Yeah, it's truth. It's the truth, and I feel like I'm a fairly educated person, but no, I hadn't. Like, I hadn't. You know, Corey's case got me thinking, well, this makes no sense. So you start doing your research, you know, and that's why I respect you, because you actually do your research. Instead of sitting with a pencil and a piece of notebook paper and, you know, just talking silly things that aren't true. people around here don't know. Like, nobody knows what Dogman is. Nobody. We weren't raised to believe that. Everybody has heard of Bigfoot, of course.
Right.
Maybe that's what it was, but like, does Bigfoot have canine DNA?
Yeah. Speaking of the canine, here's something that we didn't touch on really quick, and I don't mean to cut you off, but where are they getting the canine DNA from? What is the wounds? What were the wounds? Did your friend who was the EMT on scene tell you?
Yes, sir. It's like I told you. Like, I think the way I described it to you was, I told you where I had golden retrievers growing up, right? And the dog will jump in the swimming pool. If I let my golden lab inside the pool, inside the fence, and I'm in the pool, he's going to jump in the water and he's going to grab me by the arm and try to get me out of the water. Like, that's what they do. The wounds that Corey had on him, it looked like a big dog had picked him up. And you can see the puncture marks, but they're not bite marks. There's a difference in a bite mark and a puncture mark.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when a mama dog picks a puppy up and packs it somewhere by the nape of its neck, she's going to leave impressions. It's not hurting that puppy. It's like the marks that were on that child is like some kind of big canine or something that has canine teeth. That's the reason you call canines, like teeth, canines, like dog teeth. He had on his shoulder and his arm, it looked like he had been carried that way by his shoulder and his arm, like something big enough that child's, over 100 pounds. It's not a small child.
No.
It's like someone picked him up and carried him and just laid him down. Like, there weren't bite marks. There were no bite marks. There was not. If you had a pack of dogs that are dragging somebody up that terrain, that poor little fellow would have been, it would have been a bloody disaster.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't. His clothes weren't ripped. He wasn't, like, there were no quote unquote bites taken out of him. Nothing was trying to eat him. Nothing was like, it was crazy. I mean, it was like, my buddy told me, he was describing it and everything. And he said, man, it's like if you took a dog the size of a bear and that dog decided it wanted just to play with this little fella. That's basically what it was. Like, something just packed him wherever. Now, you do have impressions on the boy. His skin was broken, of course, but like, it wasn't bites. It wasn't bite marks. It wasn't.
Right. It wasn't like Tony Aaron's Amber
dog.
Miller, where he was just torn apart. There was just like,
yeah, for sure. It wasn't like you had 3 or 4 dogs fighting with each other. Because first of all, you don't have a pack of dogs that you can make work in unison to pack somebody up that kind of terrain. You don't. If you had a pack of dogs that were going to do something with that little feather, they would have never made it that far. Like, it's honestly, it's ridiculous to even believe that. But he had they got the DNA because he did have, he had marks and everything.
Yeah.
And it's like that other channel talking about, trying to break down how DNA works, which was the silliest thing I've ever heard anybody do on a video, but very incorrect. It's like, we share a lot of our DNA with Lucky, but that doesn't mean, like,
there's certain genetic markers that can distinguish certain dogs from wolves and this and that, and that's how we can figure out, you can bring your dog to the nearest Petco and they can take some blood and figure out, oh, your dog is part lab and part shepherd. And,
I mean, it's basic genetics.
Yeah.
It's basic genetics.
It's
and for you to tell me that you can, like, okay, if there are many cases, like, where people get killed by wolves or even coyotes or anything, right? Or a pit bull, let's say.
Yeah.
Well, you can mark out real easy that it's a pit bull that did that by just a little bit of saliva. Like, you can figure that out. You can determine what breed of animal it was. That's how we make, like, special little fancy animals. That's how you crossbreed dogs. Like, that's how You know, like what markers are there for this breed, for that breed. That's how you get little boutique pets.
That's how you make a Labradoodle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what, you know how to do that. Like, and you know for a fact, if you bring a Labradoodle to the vet's going to say, okay, yeah, that's a Labradoodle. Here, I can go back this far on either side of the bloodline. I can tell you exactly how much of this dog's in it and this dog's in it. And, you know, it's silly for somebody to even continue to say unknown canine.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not unknown. It's unknown because the markers in that DNA don't match anything that we have.
Yeah. Or they do, and they just don't want to let it be known, you know, like.
Oh yeah. and that's it, man. Like, these markers don't match. Yeah, it's not a wolf. It's not a red wolf. It's not a, you know what I mean? Even as far as varieties of wolves. It's not this wolf. It's not that wolf. It's not a coyote. It's not a lab. It's not a German Shepherd. It's not. We can't tell you what it is because A, like you said, we don't want you to know, or B, we don't know ourselves.
Right.
This is new to us.
Yeah.
But for you to sit and expect a mother to believe that, you know, especially this scenario, if you expect a mother to believe that a pack of dogs took her child, when that mother knows everybody that lives up and down that hollow, she could probably name every dog's name that runs up and down that road. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there are no packs of dogs. We know that. Like, it's ludicrous for that to be the answer.
Yeah.
It didn't say, well, it's a canine, but we can't tell you what kind of canine. Well, you're crazy. Yes, you can.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of just unanswered questions. It's a disgusting cover-up. And, you know, it's just, it really is baffling to me that, you know, the mom, I don't know. The more I think about the poor woman having to endure this for the rest of her life, it really kind of hits me in the gut. It's a gut punch, you know, because you're like, wow, man, what if that was my kid? I'd want to know, you know, and have to be silenced like that and be afraid is BS. I don't even know. It's a very bad. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. There's no other word for it. With a lot of mysteries.
Here's what's terrible, Jeff. People that may hear this may wonder, you know, if you're that guy that was on the ambulance that night, if you're that guy that was a sheriff's deputy, how can you not say anything?
Right.
And here's the thing. I get that. I understand that sentiment, but at the same time, you have to realize that these are people that I know to be good people. These are people that, you know, I'm one of those people too. I'm one of those people who would sit here and say, why can't you should say something. You have more information than I do. You should say something. You should do something. But it's not always like that. These are people that are legitimately good people that care about each other, that would do anything for anyone. But you have to understand, when someone threatens your family, it doesn't matter how much you love anybody else. I'm going to fight for my children more than I would fight for anyone else's children. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's sad that people in the position to have a little bit of power use that power, no matter what it does, no matter how much it hurts these families. And it kills my soul because, you know, like this situation with Corey, man, how many situations like that are there across the country? How many people are sitting here upside down and they can't say anything because they're afraid to?
Right.
And they're put in a position where they've got to kind of hide the truth and do whatever, because if they don't, then their family's at risk.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's a bad it's just a bad situation all the way around. And I don't want people to listen to this and think, well, that police officer that told that child's mother she needs to keep quiet.
Absolutely
I don't
not.
want people to think he's a bad person.
No, he was like...
Because he's not.
Yeah, I've gotten to meet you, like I said to you before the interview. I've talked to you for a long time yesterday. We've talked for a while today. I've pretty much felt the kind of person you are, and you're a good guy. You're telling me this guy's a good guy. You've known him for a long time. Obviously, you're friends. So, like, but there was some sort of threat to him or to his family that really had to, and it must have been a bad, threat to make him tell her to just shut up and not say anything, just accept what we're telling you. And that's what it is. And there's just, there's a lot of mystery in this. There's just unanswered questions with a big cover up. And unfortunately, I don't think that cover up will ever get taken down. And I don't think any of the answers will ever get answered.
That's what bothers me about it, Jeff. I'm 38 years old. I'll be lucky to live as long as my father. My father's 72. I hope I get to live to be that old.
Yeah.
But if I do, I guarantee you there aren't going to be answers to this.
No.
Especially because around here, and myself, I know all these law enforcement people. I know the fire guys. I know the coroner. I knew the coroner. I'm sorry, he's passed away now. But Danny passed away. I'm sorry. The owner of the funeral home, not Jeff. Anyhow, but these people are people that were put in a position that they didn't know what to do with. This whole case with Corey is something that it doesn't happen here. Like, we don't have crazy things like that happen. This was a huge deal, and this poor family, his mother's never going to be able to get over this. And I don't think there'll ever be a time that she'll actually come out and say anything that she wants to, because I think she's been intimidated to the point that she's afraid to, and that's got to be a horrible way to live your life.
Yeah.
You lose your child after you've worked so hard to do anything you could for that child and, give him a good life.
Yeah.
And people come in and not only take away you having any kind of peace about it, but they affect everybody around you to the point that I don't know how that lady wakes up in the morning and even functions, because I couldn't.
No.
I couldn't, Jeff. I would, whoever those people were that showed up on scene and were orchestrating the whole deal when they were looking for Corey before they found him, those people would just have to make me disappear.
Yeah.
Because there's no world I live in where if that was my child that I could sit by and not say anything. And I'm not saying anything bad about his mother whatsoever. Please do not.
No.
Anyone listen to this, please don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. That lady is a fantastic person, and she doesn't deserve what's happening to her. I'm sorry for everyone that has to go through these kind of things. And your channel, Jeff, it's helping people. And maybe someone else that's had this kind of experience hears this. Maybe somebody sees this video and it gives them a little bit of motivation to say something,
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about, man. These families shouldn't have to go through the kind of stuff they're going through, and they shouldn't have to be put on the back burner because we're in southeastern Kentucky.
Exactly.
You shouldn't have to feel like you don't matter because people feel like you're inferior.
Yeah.
And it's sad that that's what's going on here. Like, people are getting intimidated, and no one's ever going to have an answer for what actually happened.
It's like, with the cases that I talked about in Virginia and West Virginia, because they're from Appalachia, they're viewed as, just, and I don't mean any disrespect when I say this at all, because I've met so many people from that area that are the kindest and most, wholesome, but they're viewed by these people who show up out of nowhere as poor white trash, and they don't friggin' matter. So this is how we're going to handle it. And, it is disgusting, and it should not even exist in 2022. There should not be anything like this going on nowadays. Your community has been torn apart. And like you said, this was for your community, for your small community. This was like the Trade Center. This had the impact of that, where everyone was brought out of the house, and, everyone was like taken back. Just a really nasty tragedy that shouldn't have even happened. And so I don't know. We're coming up on time. Is there anything that you'd like to say to everybody out there to end the video with, my friend?
Yes, sir. I would like to say this. Yeah, we're a really close-knit community, and it was like the trade centers for us. We get pushed aside, and usually the only time you hear anything about my community, the area I grew up in, it's always negative in the news. We are rednecks. We are out here in the middle of nowhere, but there are a lot of good people here.
Mm-hmm.
And for anyone listening to this, what I would like to say is, if you go through an experience like my friend, like Corey's mother has had to go through, my look at it's different than a lot of people's, because I do know the people involved, and I have a little better insight. But what I would like to say is, if anyone goes through this kind of thing, don't be afraid to say something. Get your truth out there. Don't let people silence you. Don't let people put your story down. Don't let it be swept under the rug. There are crazy things that happen, and we can't explain them. I can't explain this story. I can't. It makes no sense to me. But I know this. I know that for people like Corey and countless other people who this kind of thing has had to happen to, don't be afraid to get your truth out there. Stand up for what you believe in. Love your family. Love your friends. Be good to each other. Care about the things that matter. And try to do everything you can to respect everyone that you love. And if you've had one of these situations happen to you, if you've had an encounter, if you've had something terrible happen and somebody's tried to get you to be quiet, don't. None of this is ever going to change. People are going to keep getting hurt. Families are going to keep getting torn apart. Communities are going to keep getting destroyed. Live what you believe in, and do the best you can to love each other and stand by each other. If you know something, say it.
Yeah.
Tell the truth. Don't make up lies. Don't make a stupid YouTube channel where you sit and just make up nonsense and try to make yourself look cool. Don't do that. Be good to each other and stand up for your families.
Well said.
I guess that's about all, Jeff.
Well said, my friend. Well said. Listen, do me a favor. Don't hang up after we end this. I want to talk to you for a little while more, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for clearing the air. I think you are probably one of the very few people from Knott County, minus maybe I think there's two other people that spoke briefly, like 30 seconds on national news about the case. You really painted a picture of what your community is, who the people involved were, and hopefully someone will see this and really possibly get a heart. Hopefully, if someone is involved in the cover-up and really gets some sort of guilt and maybe they will reach out to Corey's mom and be like, listen, you can't say anything, but this is what happened. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but that'd be a decent thing if it did. So thanks for coming on again, my friend. So. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I said I sure hope so. That's my main goal in everything in having this conversation is, at the end of the day, I wish that lady could have some peace.
Yeah.
I feel like if it was my children, I would want that. So hopefully, someday, maybe she'll get that peace.
Right.
But thank you again, Jeff. Thank you for letting me be on here, and I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. I appreciate everything, and I don't even know. I'm sorry that your community had to go through what you guys went through.
Thank you, sir. It means a lot.
All right, guys, that has been an interview that I've been wanting to do for a while. I've been wanting to talk to somebody from that community. I've been wanting to find out how that community really feels and actually be able to share it with you guys. That way, this case is a case that shouldn't be forgotten. This case is a case that, just like all of the other unanswered attacks, shouldn't be forgotten. Tom Mezek, Christopher Whiteley, Brenda Hamilton. These are cases that shouldn't be attacked, nor should anyone be adding to that. Tony Aarons, Amber Miller. There should not be any addition to these cases that is not true, because these cases are already crazy enough. These cases already leave you asking questions because there isn't enough information to get a valid answer. This is what the community feels. Charles is going to go and bring this video to Corey's mom, Molly, and he's going to play it for her. And see what she really thinks. Now, here's something that was not mentioned. It was an open casket. When Charles and I got done talking, he kind of let me know what he felt. What happened was that either a Dogman or a Bigfoot, or if they're the same creature, and now I'm talking with I'm sharing the sentence as he shared it with me. If the creature is one and the same, whatever, something brought him up that cliffside, that 300 to 400 foot cliffside, and took that poor child from this earth, took that poor child from his mother and his family and his community. And yes, like he said, there was puncture marks, but it's such a mystery because there was no dirt, there was no this, there was no that. And now we honestly get the truth. We actually have the truth from someone from the community. And I'm going to be reaching out to another subscriber from Beaumont, North Carolina. I have a subscriber from there to get that community, the Brenda Hamilton. And there you have it, folks. I hope you all enjoyed this second half bonus as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd like to thank you for supporting the channel. It is your support that helps the channel to continue to grow and go, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we deserve. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, our pets, our family, and our friends. These creatures are real. These events have happened. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.